Joshua, welcome to the session. Welcome to the session, and welcome everyone for your welcome everyone. Welcome to the session, and a quick introduction about Joshua. So he is a Microsoft MCT, and he will be guiding us today on cloud computing and introduction to Microsoft 365. So, Joshua, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Good morning, everyone from here. Hi, Chaitanya. Hi, Suraj. Hi,
Good
everyone.
Good morning, Joshua. I hope you are doing
Good
good.
morning. Very well.
Welcome,
Thank you. I
welcome to.
hope you're doing okay too.
Yeah. I'm doing good as well. And welcome to the session. Welcome to this session with Stava.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure to have you. I
Thank
think,
you.
yeah, I think we should now start the session. In the meanwhile, uh, if anyone wants to remind their friends, then do remind them.
Hi, can I proceed?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Please confirm if when you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we
Okay.
can.
Okay. Thank you, Jude. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Welcome to today's session. My name is Joshua, as introduced. Joshua Adigun. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer, among other things I do. And taking this session from Nigeria. I'm a Nigerian also. Thank you very much for having me here, Suraj. It's a pleasure to actually be invited to speak on Microsoft 365. I'm so glad to be here, and I believe we are here together to learn, to relearn, and know new things, and then explore things together. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. I can't begin to mention all the names on the call. I think I recognize some. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So on today's agenda, we would be looking at what cloud computing is, introduction to cloud computing, and then introduction to Microsoft 365. Yeah. So for today's session, the agenda as follows: cloud computing, unleashing the power of cloud computing. We would also look at introduction to Microsoft 365, how to elevate your productivity with Microsoft 365. And then we would also look at Microsoft 365 tools, a holistic overview of productivity tools and tools that would make your day-to-day activities a success and efficient, basically. So looking at cloud computing, right, would also see what's the name, other cloud computing providers. However, for this session, right, we would stick to Microsoft 365. And as you know, I'm Microsoft certified trainer, so I would speak much about Microsoft, right? So thank you. Let's start with cloud computing, unleashing the power of cloud computing. What is cloud computing? Some of us might not have heard about cloud computing before now, and some of us might have heard about cloud computing, and some of us would say cloud computing is accessing your data over the internet at anywhere, at any time, on the go. You are correct, right? There are different definitions of cloud computing. However, we also have standard definitions. We also have, we have, just like we have in the English language, we have the connotative meaning and the denotative meanings, right? So that's also the same thing with cloud computing and computing terms, IT terminologies, basically. So cloud computing basically is it's a process of computing or performing computing operations. What are the computing operations? We know in basic computer processing, right? Computing operations are, first one is input, you process, you output, you store, like that. The cycle continues. The cycle continues, right? So cloud computing is a process of performing basic or performing computing operations such as the input, the processing aspect, the outputting aspect, the storing aspect, and also the controlling aspect on the cloud via the internet. That's one definition, right? Cloud computing can also be the availability of fast and scalable system resources. What are the system resources? Databases, storages, computing resources for processing, and then we also have power. Those are the system resources, right? So cloud computing is the availability of fast and scalable system resources without the end user, having a direct active management, right, in whatsoever the process of provisioning those system resources. Cloud computing can also be the fast and scalable system resources here, computing services and data on demand. So we also have what we call the computing services, which includes the infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, or software as a service, right? So an end user to navigate his or her way around cloud, right, does not need to have a direct involvement or direct active management. Depending on the type of cloud, which we would look at in as we go on in the session. Give. If you're good to go, please let me know in the session, in the chat box. Use the smileys. So this is going to be an interactive session, kind of like we're teaching ourselves. Okay, thank you very much. So proceeding, right, we have what we call the NIST model of cloud computing. The NIST means National Institute of Standards and Technology. So basically, cloud computing in this model is divided into three: the deployment models, the service models, and the essential characteristics. So for the deployment models, we have both the public, private, hybrid, and community cloud. And then under the service models, that's where we have the computing services, such as software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service. And then for the essential characteristics, we have the resource pooling, we have broad network access, rapid elasticity, measured service, on-demand self-service. So basically, the essential service or characteristics, without the essential characteristics, right, then it is not a cloud computing. When you do not have the resource pooling, you do not have the elasticity, you do not have the measured service, you do not have the on-demand self-service, then it's not cloud, right? Then for the service models, we have this is basically how users use the essential models. The essential models, without it, there's no cloud. The service model, this is how users use the essential model, right? And then for the deployment models, this is how cloud computing resources are deployed. So first, it starts from the deployment model, how cloud computing is deployed, services, the resources. That is the starting point, basically. And then it moves to the service model, which provides an environment for end users in the basically for end users to be able to use the essential characteristics, such as resource pooling and the likes. So we would look at each of these models, cloud computing models, the NIST model, basically. We'll look at them quickly. So for the essential characteristics, I mentioned earlier that we have the broad network, measured service, resource pooling, and others, right? So for the broad network, these are accesses to resources and services via standard client or computers, just such as laptops, mobile phones, tabs, or via our traditional cloud computing or cloud-based software services via an application, basically. So broad network access is the way we access, the end user accesses the resources and the services, yeah, via the devices, basically. Via devices such as desktop or laptops or mobile phones or tabs, or via applications, web applications, basically. Then for the rapid elasticity, services can be rapidly and elastically provisioned. That's the beauty about cloud computing. You provision what you need. It's not like the normal traditional way of having your on-premise system, where you get a system that is 1 terabyte SSD, right? However, for the cloud, you provision what you need. So the process of provisioning and then what you need, and when you no longer need such large space, you can also deprovision them. That's what we call rapid elasticity. Services can be rapidly and elastically provisioned, in some cases automatically, yes, to quickly scale out and rapidly release, to quickly scaling. So for measured services, automatically you have control and you optimize your resources or your resource usage by leveraging a meter or a metering capability at some level. So some of us, we use Android phones. I have idea about the Android phones. You kind of have like a metering service on your phone where it meters how your data is being used on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, or on a monthly basis, basically. So this is what the measured service does, right? So for the on-demand self-service, basically consumers, custom end users, users can provision computing capabilities such as server time, network storages as needed automatically, like I explained when I was explaining the rapid elasticity, right? The end user can provision these resources, the system resources such as databases, networks, hardware. By hardware I mean virtual machines, right? And other things. So you provision what you need on demand. So you don't need to get a large space and pay for large spaces, right? You pay for, let's say you need just 1 gig at this time, you pay for 1 gig. And when the need arises for you to increase, yeah, to increase to 10 gig, you pay for 10 gig. And when the need arises for you to scale out or to scale down to reduce, you do not have the need for 10 gig anymore. You reduce to maybe 5 gig and the likes. So on-demand self-service. And then for the resource pooling, resources are pooled to serve multiple consumers using multi-tenancy model. Basically, once you have a pool and allow more than one consumer to access the resource pool, right, using different physical and virtual machines, that's what multi-tenancy means. So resources are pooled to serve multiple consumers. So that's why you can imagine how Microsoft would have millions of users on its Microsoft 365, and all their requests are being served at the same time. So that's that about the essential characteristics. Excuse me. All right. So next we would look at the cloud service models. Right? Cloud service models describes what is actually offered to the consumers, to the end users. That's where we have the infrastructure as a service, the platform as a service, and the software as a service. So what are these? What is IaaS? What is PaaS? What is SaaS? Right? So for infrastructure as a service, you basically rent, as the name implies, infrastructure related to your on-premise or your normal traditional infrastructures, the tower, the desktop, the monitors, the keyboards, all those, the network cards, all those are part of infrastructures, peripherals, right? So for infrastructure as a service, you rent IT infrastructures such as servers, virtual machines, storages, networks, operating systems. And just to let you know, I hope you guys are aware that Microsoft also has the Windows 365. So what it means is you don't need to, they are making everything cloud. So you don't need to carry your traditional laptop around for you to access some things on your computer. At anywhere you have access to the internet, you can access your Windows. So yes, you rent infrastructures such as operating systems also from cloud providers such as Microsoft, which is why we are here today. You also have other cloud providers like AWS, Google, and the likes. So basically, IaaS is you rent these IT infrastructures from cloud providers on pay as you go. When you pay for it for a certain period of time, you use it. When you are no longer in need of it, it gets deprovisioned. And then depending on the resources you need, you pay for what you need, not just paying for the whole thing. So for PaaS, right, this refers to cloud computing services that supply an on-demand environment for development, for testing, for delivering, and for managing of software applications. So this is where it creates an environment for this, for testing, where you test your what would I call them now? Your applications that are being built on the cloud, basically. And then platform as a service is also designed to make it easier for developers to quickly create web and mobile applications. Like I said earlier, this creates an enabling environment for you to carry out your development, your testing, your deployment, everything, and even the software you are creating or the web application you are creating itself, without worrying about setting up or managing the underlying infrastructures. You don't need to think about how to manage the IT infrastructures, how to set them up, how to get the network up and running, all those things, the databases, you don't need to worry about them on the platform as a service section. So for the software as a service, right, this is basically, how would I put it now? I would say it's a method for for delivering software applications over the internet. Microsoft 365 is an application. So Microsoft delivers this application, Microsoft 365, over the internet on demand, so that end users can carry out their day-to-day activities, activities basically efficiently, and then this leads to productivity and other benefits of cloud computing basically. So I hope we got the simple and straightforward explanations about this. So yeah, some of us have idea about this, some of us know this, yeah, but it's good when you listen or you read other people's idea about this thing. It's kind of, for me, I try to read multiple definitions about something and then get the best and simple of how it is defined, so that I can easily explain it to maybe a beginner or even a 5-year-old. But it has infrastructure as a service. Like I said, it provides, it provisions processing, storages, networks, and other resources. As you can see, let me see if I can get the red pen. Yeah, as you can see this. Here we have, it's kind of divided into, the infrastructure as a service is kind of divided into layers, right? We have the facilities, we have the hardware, we have the abstraction or connectivity and delivery, and run arbitral softwares. All these things is what is contained in the infrastructure as a service, which the user does not need to have an idea about or how they are being done. The user's goal, or the user's goal, is just to set this up and get his or her work done quickly and as possible. So EAS provides pool of virtualized infrastructures, right? Such as compute. Sorry, someone is saying they cannot see the video. Can you guys see my screen? Can you see the presentation? Okay. All right. Thank you. So EAS provides pool of virtualized infrastructures. So the physical infrastructures are now virtualized. Yes. Those infrastructures can be compute, network, and storage pools. So we would also look at a simplified architecture. So from here we have what we call the compute pool. We also have the storage pool. So in this part, yeah, storages are provisioned on demand as rapidly as possible. And then here for the compute pool, I don't know if you can see very well, here we have the hypervisors, right? On this part, we have the hypervisors, and then here we have the VMs. So VMs are provisioned on hypervisors. If you don't know about hypervisors, I would suggest, I would encourage that you, after this session, you can read about hypervisors. Actually, what it does, it kind of gives you an environment to sorry about that. It kind of gives you an environment to create different virtual machines, servers, as much as you want, basically. And then what happens here is the computing resources, or the computing pool, computing resources are provisioned on pay-as-you-go basis or on demand. The storage pool is also provisioned on demand, and then they are sent to their respective controllers. Yeah. So basically, what happens is the storage pool, the storage is provisioned and goes to the storage controller, which in turn goes to the computing pool, and then computing pool pulls out the compute pool here, the computing resources here, and everything is sent to the outside world. The user does not need to know how this is done, except the user is a software, or a cloud architect, basically. So this is just a simplified architecture of IaaS. So the next one is the PaaS, Platform as a Service. Basically, PaaS abstracts or hides capabilities and provides resource pools of pre-configured services where cloud consumer doesn't need to manage the underlying infrastructure. All right. So what has been pre-configured in the IaaS part, cloud compute, platform PaaS basically provides the resource pool of those pre-configured services to the end user without the user having to worry about the underlying infrastructure, basically. So for IaaS, for PaaS, Platform as a Service, we have the APIs. As you can see here also, right? This is the beginning, IaaS. The next layer is PaaS. And the next one will be SaaS. So for the integration between these two models, these layers, right? We have the APIs, and then which connects integration and middleware to the PaaS. So for a platform as a service, like I mentioned earlier, this is just an environment for developers also to develop their softwares, test them, and deploy. So I will mention that you can also look at what Microsoft Copilot is. If you're a developer here, it's something that is going to change the development world also. Next is the simplified version, right? Simplified architecture of the PaaS. So here we have the IaaS part up to this point, and then we have the application platform, which is the platform as a service part, which contains other applications. And then before, this does not get direct access to the outside world, but yes, it does get access to the outside world through the SaaS, right? Which we'll be looking at in a moment. So for the SaaS, SaaS fully abstracts everything except the application itself. That's why you're able to use Microsoft 365. It abstracts everything except the application itself. Okay, someone is saying they can no longer see my screen. Suraj, it's showing now. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we can see Joshua. We can see your screen.
Okay, thank you. So for the SaaS, right? SaaS fully, like I said, SaaS fully abstracts everything except the application itself. Cloud consumers only use application but do not have an insight or management of the underlying resources. So basically for the SaaS part, we have data, we have metadata, we have content, we have applications, we have APIs, we have presentation modality and presentation platform. So all this, the end user, the consumer, does not need to see to the IaaS part, to the PaaS part. All they need to see is the application itself and how they are able to use the application efficiently and then apply to their day-to-day activities. So this is a simplified version. Like I've mentioned before, you have notification service up to manage queues, up to the outside world, right? The object storage, everything from the IaaS to the PaaS, everything, and then the user is able to use the software as a service, the application without any hassle, but with ease. Okay, I hope you all got that. I hope my definitions were simple enough. Okay, thank you for the thumbs up. All right, so we're now going to the deployment models. We have the public clouds, we have the private cloud, we have the hybrid cloud, we have the community cloud. These are types of clouds, right? Deployment models. And then and these are the types of clouds we interact with, or we use, or that are available in our day-to-day usage of whatsoever cloud computing whatever cloud computing service, resources, or whatever we're using. So for the public cloud, right? Public clouds are clouds that or cloud environments that are typically created from IT infrastructures not owned by the end users. So we have cloud computing giants, we have cloud providers, which are kind of in charge of doing this on the behalf of end users. So public cloud is available to everyone to use. Public cloud is available to everyone. It's available to the general public, and then basically to everyone. So, but so this tends to be what most organizations use, basically, right? So for the private cloud, these are cloud environments that are solely dedicated to a single organization, right, or a group. So for single organizations, you maybe in your different organizations, you have what we call the on-premise. That's a private cloud, just for your organization. Does not Those outside your organization cannot have access to whatsoever resources are being that are available on the private cloud. So it can be an environment that is dedicated to a group of people where the environment usually runs behind what the user or the group's firewall. Then another thing about private cloud is that all clouds becomes private when the underlying IT infrastructure is dedicated to a single customer, right? All clouds becomes a private cloud when the underlying IT infrastructure is dedicated to a single customer. So let's say for my organization, right, Joshua and Sons Limited, a cloud is dedicated to my organization and to my organization alone. That becomes a private cloud. Outsiders, external users do not have access to the resources on the private cloud. Private cloud might be available over the internet, yes, depending, but it is not available for everyone to use. Please take note, it might be available over the internet, let's say because the staff of the organization are working remotely from different parts of the world, right? It can be available over the internet, but not available to everyone. So it's highly secure, kind of. Yeah. So for the hybrid cloud, this is an IT environment created from multiple environments. Basically, you're kind of merging the public cloud and private cloud together. So there are some resources that you only want to be internal within the organization. You do not want external users to have access to resources that you need to share with maybe your contractors or those you're having business with, you are doing business with, right? So that's where you have a hybrid environment. So some applications, some resources are not available to those external users. They only have access to what is made available to them. And then for the internal users, they have access to the internal resources. So it's a combination of, it can be a combination of public and private, or public, private, and community. Yes, so hybrid cloud is also an IT environment that is, like I said earlier, created from multiple environments through different networks, like the networks now, yeah, networking. models like the local area networks, the wide area networks, the virtual private networks, and or even APIs also. So hybrid combines traditional data centers with private or public cloud over a dedicated connection and communicates freely with each other. So combination of our traditional data centers with private or public cloud over a dedicated connection. That's hybrid cloud. So for the community cloud, so this is when you have specialized communities, when you have them come together and then agree to share or to use a cloud which is sold by a third-party provider. So a group of persons can come together and agree to say we want to share this cloud or want to use this cloud together. Basically, this cloud is provided by third-party providers, cloud providers. So these services can be leased, or they are leased actually, and dedicated to those organizations depending on the needs. Depending on the need, right? So these services are leased to those group of persons that have come together and have agreed that they want to share or they want to use the same cloud, which is provided by a third-party provider, right? Okay, so the next is that's all about cloud. So let me quickly say something, right? For public clouds, the infrastructure is managed by a third-party provider. And then the infrastructure is also owned by a third-party provider. And then accessibility and consummation of this public cloud, because it's available to everyone, it's kind of not 100% trusted, right? So, but for the private and or community cloud, this is the infrastructure is managed by the organization or third-party provider. Like I said, private or community. Private is organization, community is third party. And then the infrastructure is also owned by either the organization or a third party. And then this is trusted because it's private. It's within an organization or within a group of organizations. And then for the hybrid cloud, the infrastructure is managed by both the organization and a third party provider. And then yes, and then the infrastructure is also owned by both the organization and the third party provider. And this can be trusted and not trusted because this is a combination of both public and private clouds. Okay, so the next, this is where we are coming to. Sorry, I'll go back again. Before I get to the next slide, the next point on our agenda, right? So we have cloud computing giants. I mentioned them earlier. We have Microsoft, we have Apple, we have Google, we have Amazon. So there's this acronym I used to use, MAGA: Microsoft, Apple, Google, Amazon. There are other ones, but these are kind of the large ones, right? And in this session and subsequent sessions, we would be concentrating on the Microsoft cloud computing. So, introduction to Microsoft 365, how to elevate your productivity. What is Microsoft 365? What is Microsoft 365? Just bear with me 1 second. Bear with me 1 second, I'll stop sharing. Okay, just 1 second. Apologies, please. Right, so just one second. Let me present my screen again. So it might start from the beginning again, but just bear with me. I would just quickly move. So can you see my screen now? Please confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes, Joshua, your screen is visible.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Apologies for that. What is Microsoft 365? Before now, before I delve or dive into right? Before now, we have. Can you hear me now?
So Joshua, your voice got breaked. We couldn't hear you earlier. Can you please repeat last
Oh,
few lines?
okay. Thanks. So a picture is worth 1,000 words. Before now, we have or we had what used to be Office 365. Office 365 was introduced in 2010, basically to refer to a subscription-based software as a service platform. So I think you guys now understand why we had to come from cloud computing before we delve into Microsoft 365, right? So before now, we had Office 365, which was first introduced in 2010. Someone said they cannot see my screen. Please confirm. Before now, we have Office 365, which was first introduced in 2010 to refer to a subscription-based software as a service platform, basically for the corporate market, which included it included hosted services such as Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, Link Server, and even you then have your traditional office suite that was usually on your laptops. You now have them on the web. You now have your office suite on the web. So, but in 2017, Microsoft then introduced a second brand of subscription service for the enterprise market known as the Microsoft 365, which basically combined Office 365 with Windows 10 Enterprise volume licenses, and other cloud-based security and device management products. So in 2017, everything changed. No, not changed. Microsoft introduced Microsoft 365 that comprises of Office 365, which I talked about earlier, plus Windows 10 Enterprise volume licenses, plus other cloud-based security, plus device management products. So Office 365 is a combination of these four and even more, right? And then in April 21st, 2020, Office 365 was rebranded as Microsoft 365. So instead of having Office 365, which is just kind of a standalone, Microsoft decided to rebrand everything, since we now have Microsoft 365 that comprises of Office 365, Windows 10 Enterprise, cloud-based security, and device management. So in 2020, Microsoft rebranded everything Office 365 to Microsoft 365. Why did they do that? Why did they do that, right? They did that just to emphasize the services current inclusion, the service current inclusion of products and services beyond the core Microsoft 365 or beyond the core Microsoft Office software. So they had to rebrand everything just to let us know that the Microsoft 365 is not just what Office 365 usually or used to be, but now it's a combination of Office 365 and even more. And since we're dealing with cloud, enterprise security needs to be in place to ensure that whatsoever you are doing on the cloud is safeguarded. That's why we have the CIA triad, the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So Microsoft is one of the mantra in Microsoft is they'll tell you availability is 99.9%, yeah, and then security is kind of in the top two top two on Microsoft list, because if a cloud security is compromised, right, then everything is gone. So sometimes before you are able to regain access or to regain control, a lot of data might have been lost, sensitive information, and the likes. So Office 365 was rebranded in 2020 just to emphasize all this, and then to also emphasize the suite of productivity tools, and then how artificial intelligence can also help to make your day-to-day activities or work efficient. So what are the important features of Microsoft 365? What are the important features? We have four of them. We have trusted platform, 24%. Or everything here sums up to 100, right? But taking them individually, I would say Microsoft 365, is 100% or 1000% trusted. Yes, we have issues of, sorry, I'm saying we, because I kind of still work with support guys. Yeah, so there used to be cases of user accounts being compromised, and then when you probe further, you would see that this is kind of a negligence from the part of the user. But when you do everything, all the rule, you follow all the laid down rules and regulations that Microsoft allowed your Microsoft 365 tenant organization, whatever it is secure. I can tell you for a fact that everything is secure, except maybe you are social engineered or you are pitched like another attacks. Yeah, so Microsoft 365 is a trusted platform. And then secure data accessibility. It's also secure. You can access it at any time. That's why they said availability is 99.9%. At any time, at anywhere, as long as you have access to the internet, you can access it. And then that data is secure. So that's why I mentioned earlier in the presentation that some persons, when you ask them what cloud computing is, they'll tell you is the availability of their data 24/7. Yes, so it's part of it. And then Microsoft 365 also, it has a rich organizational insight. Yeah, we'll be looking at some of the tools, that some of the productivity tools, and then you would see that these services are, all the services basically in Microsoft 365, some of them are interrelated. Like the way Teams and SharePoint are interrelated, you can create a group, and even, yeah, you can create a group or you create a team in Teams, which creates a group in Microsoft 365, which in turn creates a SharePoint site. So they're kind of interrelated, and then you also use Viva. You also have Viva to get organizational insights on a daily basis. So we would look at that in the coming slide. So for intelligent user experience, I would like to speak more about on this. I would give an example with Outlook. So Outlook, you might not know, Outlook has AI in it. Ask me how. Ask me how. Outlook, thank you, Akanji. Outlook, if you open your Outlook, you would see, okay, thank you, though. You would see, when you open your Outlook, you see the Outlook is depending on how you want your interface to be. Mine is 3 interfaces. The left hand, the first column, where I have my account, and then I have different folders, the inbox, the sent items, and the likes. The middle one is where I see the messages, right? The emails. And then the third part to the right is where when I click on any email, I can read the whole email, right? So the middle part, you would see um other, and hold on, let me see if I can get a screenshot. I might have to stop sharing again, but let's see. You'll see focused. Okay, let's just go ahead. You'll see focused and what's the name? You'll see focused and other. So this is how it works. You know, when you start using Outlook for the very first time, the system begins to learn how you read your emails. So when an email comes in from Suraj, you open it. When an email comes in from Suraj, you open it. When an email comes in from Suraj, you open it. And when an email comes in from Joshua, you don't open it at all, right? So it learns that over time. And then subsequently, when emails comes in from Joshua, instead of having it clogged in the focused folder, it moves it to the other folder, so that emails from Suraj are in the focused folder, because it has learned over time that these are the emails you've been reading or you consistently read. So the other ones, you don't really read them, so it means they're not important. So it focuses the important one in the focused part. That's one. Secondly, Outlook also learns how you send emails. So for example, Suraj has been sending emails to 100 persons over time, over a time of 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, and all of a sudden, Suraj begins to send emails to 300, 500 users at the same time. The system will flag it. This is abnormal. Suraj have never done this, right? And then this is flagged to what's the name? To the back end, to the Microsoft 365, your Microsoft 365 portal, and then the user is restricted from sending emails. That's why some of you who have idea about it, you see, or some of you who work with Microsoft support, you learn, you already know, you will hear when users will say, I can't send emails, and when you look at it, the users were blocked, right? So that's part of the intelligent intelligent aspect of Microsoft 365. And then we also have the secure score, which you can explore. There are other intelligent features also, which you can also explore. Yep. All right. So sorry. So yes. That so next is the Microsoft 365 tool. Sorry, I've been speaking for almost 1 hour now. Sorry I hope you're not bored. So for the Microsoft 365 tools, these are the tools that basically allows you to thank you. These tools allows you to actively or to have a productive day, I would say. These are productivity tools. They are one of a kind, I would say. They ensure that you carry out your day-to-day activities seamlessly without stress. And then what you've been doing manually before, you're now doing it with Microsoft 365. There is improvement in your productivity. There's improvement in your efficiency. So a lot of these tools helps to kind of make your life better. So that's why Microsoft is loved, yeah, and then that they are trusted by millions of people in the world. Some of these tools you've not heard of them, some you've heard of them. I hope you can see this, and then can be divided. They can be divided. They can be classified. They can be classified into, thank you, Akanji. They can be classified into different forms. So here, actually got this on the internet. Yeah. So, but you have the Office Online, you have the task administration, you have the social networks, you have forms, you have project management, you have presentations, you have business applications, and you have employee profiles. So these tools basically encompasses everything you do on a day-to-day. You might say ERP is not here. Yes, we have Dynamics 365 for your ERP. They have different Dynamics 365. Those in Dynamics 365 will tell you you can use it for your enterprise resource planning, the smooth operation of your organization from inception to from beginning to the end, right? You have everything you need. So let's look at these tools. You have Word, you have Excel. These are the traditional office tools we have, right? We have them on the we also have them on Microsoft 365. So you would ask what the difference are. For the Office, right, in Microsoft 365, you can collaborate. You can use these tools to these tools for collaboration. You can 2 or 3 people can be working on the same file at the same time. This can be shared via OneDrive or even SharePoint, right? And then you can easily share them. You don't need to carry your laptop around, and carry your desktops around, or having to go back to the house, the office to access. No, as long as you have access to the internet, you can share, you can collaborate on documents on the go, in transit, anywhere you are, right? Same with Excel. You know what Excel does. Then OneNote. OneNote is a nice tool for. I use OneNote very well. So what I do with OneNote is I use it like a document, how would I put it now? I use it to store some things. Oh, let me put it that way. So I use OneNote. For example, I'm working on Teams. I have a section for Teams and different tabs under that section for Teams. Everything concerning Teams I've been working on, the solutions, right? The articles. And mind you, with Microsoft, we only share Microsoft articles. Working with Microsoft, you're doing anything Microsoft, we only share anything Microsoft because we only trust anything coming from Microsoft. Anything out there that is not Microsoft, that is not seen on Microsoft's page, maybe the tech community or Microsoft's articles, we don't trust them. It's only what Microsoft puts out there that is trusted by Microsoft. So sometimes you might see something and then you try it, it's not working, you call into Microsoft, and then where did you see it from? We test it on our end, it's not working. We never said it was working from our end. Yeah, so things like that. So we also have SharePoint and OneDrive. There's a difference between SharePoint and OneDrive. they're all storage mechanisms, right? But OneDrive is for individual users. So if you have a Microsoft 365 account, OneDrive is provisioned for you. This is only local to you as an individual. However, SharePoint is an organization-wide storage mechanism. It can be used as a storage mechanism here, and it can also be used as an intranet. By an intranet, I mean you can create a website with SharePoint. You put out information, links to different links to different document libraries that the organization is sharing. Sorry, please. So yeah, and then that's SharePoint, and then you can share with people. Even OneDrive, you can share with people within your organization depending on the settings, and then you can share with people outside the organization with depending on the settings. And like I mentioned earlier, SharePoint is linked to Microsoft Teams. And Microsoft Teams, you already know, is for collaboration also. You can create different teams, or you can call them groups, but they are called team in Microsoft Teams. And then you can collaborate. It can be private to specific persons. It can be public to everybody in the organization. And then you can even invite guests, depending on the settings you have in your Teams admin center. And then for Teams and SharePoint, you can create document libraries that you only want the C-suite guys. By C-suite, I mean the CTO, the CEO, the COO, the CCO have access to. And even within that folder, you can also create, you can have granular permission levels, right? That in this folder, I only want the CEO to be able to view this particular file, and others cannot view it. You can go to that level with SharePoint. Yeah. And then you also have Outlook. I've spoken about Outlook. In Outlook, you also have Calendar. Outlook is also integrated with Microsoft Teams. Yeah, that's why you can schedule Teams meeting from Outlook. And then you can use Outlook to read your emails. Outlook is so wide that it also allows you to add other email providers on it. You can add Google. You can add Google. By Google, I mean Gmail. You can add others too, either as an IMAP account or a POP account. Then you also have Yammer. So Yammer is just like the organization's social network. It's just within the organization, just the way you have Facebook or LinkedIn kind of. So yeah, that's what it does. And in Outlook, you can also create contacts. You can create tasks. You have lists to create to-do list and the likes. You also have forms. Forms you must have seen. Yes, you can add your Yahoo Mail to Outlook. Yeah, you can add your Yahoo Mail to Outlook. So there are settings on how to do that. Actually, you can add them. You can add anything, actually, any account, as long as. And then I'll just say this about Outlook. There's what we call auto discover, right? So what this does is when you are adding an email, the system automatically discovers who the email provider is, and then it adds it automatically without you even having to add it as an IMAP account. Sometimes you need to add it as an IMAP account, and you need to do some more settings, right? So we also have project management tools. You have a planner, which you can use to plan tasks and assign tasks to my guys. I also use projects also for project management, to the project plan, project schedules. So it's like points. So it's like PowerPoint for presentation also. Then you have Power Apps, right? Power Apps, Power Automate. These Power Apps is you are building low-code app. It allows you to build low-code apps. You don't need to have idea about programming. It allows you to build applications for your organization like chat box, and even inventory management system, help desk system. You can use Power Apps to do that. And then Power Automate is they are used in conjunction with Power Apps. However, Power Automate, you can also use it in let's say in an organization. Yes, everybody that's registered in the organization, the information of that organization is of that user is collected, and then there is the part for the birthdays, right? So on everybody's birthday, you can use Power Automate to trigger an email to be sent to that user that is celebrating that day. You can use Power Automate. And then Power BI, you can use it. Power BI is built on Excel. So if you don't know, I would say Excel is one of the most powerful tools you'd ever see, right? Power BI is built on Excel, and Power BI gives you rich dashboards for basically for your presentations, for your analysis. It's an analytical tool also. And then you have streams for video streaming, and then you have Visio for flowcharts, drawing, and the likes. And yes, and then somebody asked about Viva. Viva, like I said, it's an insight tool, right? It's an how would I put it now? It's an employee experience platform that brings together communications, that brings together knowledge, learnings, resources, and insights in workflow. Yeah, just it's per employee. And then it's just a platform that brings together all these things: knowledge, communications, learning resources. This is like I mentioned here, it's powered by Microsoft 365. And then you can experience it through Microsoft Teams also. And also Viva kind of fosters culture that helps people and businesses thrive with data-driven, privacy protected insights and recommendations. So depending on the data you have in your Microsoft 365 tenant, right, Viva is an intelligent tool that goes through those data and then brings out an insight, basically, that gives you an insight and provides recommendations to improve your productivity and well-being. So it goes through the organization, the Microsoft 365 tenant, and then brings out insights and then gives recommendations on how to improve your productivity. So I'll say thank you very much for listening to me. And I also want to thank the slide, the owners of the slides that the people that created these PowerPoint slides. I would like to appreciate them and thank them for giving me this good slide, right? And then yeah, it's my contact on the slide. And I also like to reference Microsoft. I would like to reference Cisco also, Cisco Academy, and Ingressive Food for Good. So thank you everyone for listening to me. I hope I didn't bore you guys. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Joshua. Thank you for taking this session, and we really appreciate it for taking your time and helping us through Microsoft 365. And I hope everyone had a good learning experience from this session. And uh, if you have any doubts, then feel free to ask Joshua right now.
Okay, so just to add, right? Next session we'll continue from where we stop. We'll be looking at Microsoft 365 in depth, the benefits and everything. So get yourself prepared, invite your friends, colleagues. It promises to be great, even more than today's session. Thank you.
Yeah. Uh, for that, we will be having the next session on 26th. and we hope to see you all in that session as well. And that will be at 1 p.m. Kenya time and 11 a.m. Nigeria and Morocco time, and 10 a.m. Ghana time, and 12 p.m. Egypt time. So 26th August is the date for that session. We will be sharing the link for that session soon. In the meanwhile, in order to stay connected with us, do join our community. I'm sharing the link in the chat box. And thank you once again, Joshua, uh, for taking this session. And uh, thank you everyone for joining today. Like I said, if you have any doubt regarding this session, regarding Microsoft 365 or regarding community itself, this is your time to ask any of your doubts.